Welcome to the Big O Show on the Overreaction Sports Network, powered by Believe.
Still the same damn kid from Oklahoma, same old dreams hanging off my shoulders, just wishing and waiting on a shooting star for all to see.
And now your host, straight out of Oklahoma, former Buffalo Bill, Jerry Ostroski.
I'm still the same damn kid from Oklahoma.
Sunday at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Time, 3:25 Central. The Kansas City Chiefs come to town, and they'll take on the Buffalo Bills in Highmark Stadium. We're going to talk about that game today here on the Big O Show on the Overreaction Buffalo Sports Network, powered by Believe. And before we get into this matchup, as always, folks, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. We're slowly climbing up where we want to be. That's because of your support, and we are very, very thankful that you tune into our shows here on Overreaction Buffalo. As I said, Sunday, 4:25 Eastern, the Kansas City Chiefs, the 9-0 Chiefs, come into Highmark Field, Orchard Park, New York, to take on the 8-2 Buffalo Bills. The Bills are 1-point favorites. The over-under is 46 points. And we'll get into some particulars here in a moment. And I think we're very, very familiar with the Chiefs. Chiefs are very, very familiar with us. When I say us, I mean fans, the Chiefs fans, Bills fans. They've been going at it for quite some time now. They are familiar with one another. And, hey, different than the last 15 years in a row, we actually get the Chiefs in the regular season in Orchard Park. So real quick, some of the particulars, as we like to get into every week, just to give you an idea where these teams stand amongst their peers in the NFL. You look at points scored per game. Kansas City comes in 11th at 24.3. The Bills, 3rd at 29 points a game. Points allowed, Chiefs 17.9, and the Bills are 9th at 19.3. Chiefs check in at 5th with that 17.9 points per game allowed. Turnover differential, this is a big difference and will be a big key of the game, I think, that we'll get into later in the show. Chiefs -4, 24th in the league, and the Bills still remain 1st in the league, +13 in turnover differential. Passing yards per game, Chiefs 9th, 231. Buffalo 13th at 222. Rushing yards per game, Chiefs 21st at 115. Now, Pacheco is back practicing. He's in his window. Don't know if we'll see him this weekend. We're taping the show a little bit early today on Thursday. Don't have a final Thursday Bills injury report or a Chiefs injury report. But speculate all you want. Pacheco did practice this week. He would give a boost to that offense if he can play. Bills checking in at 15th with 120 yards per game rushing. Defensive numbers, passing yards allowed. Chiefs 14th at 206. Bills 18th at 212. And then defensive rushing yards allowed. This is where there could be a big storyline in this game. When you look at this thing, Bills 15th at 123, and then the Chiefs check in at 3rd, giving up only 83 yards rushing a game. Of course, this Chiefs defense, great Chiefs defense, powered up front by perennial Pro Bowler, All-Pro, All-Everything, Chris Jones, known as Stone Cold Jones. So that'll be something to look at. We'll talk about that in our keys to the game. Want to talk about the injury report right now. Before we get to our keys of the game today, I want to talk a little bit about this Chiefs 9-0 start. And there's been some things written, some things broken down. We're going to look at that a little bit before we get into our keys of the game, because while it is a 9-0 start, it's not a Chiefs-like 9-0 start when you look at the numbers and the statistics and those types of things, from the great Patrick Mahomes down to Travis Kelce and the rest of this Chiefs offense. So we'll talk about that. as this Chiefs team kind of emulates the team last year. Offensive struggles beginning of the season, started to work out of it a little bit in the middle of the year, and then got to where they needed to be and, of course, made the Super Bowl run. But this is a defense for the Chiefs led by Steve Spagnuolo that is elite, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But Bill's injury report, when you look at this injury report, again, wide receiver is up front. What is going to happen this week? Amari Cooper is limited with the wrist. Matt Milano is in his window. He is back limited with the biceps. Matt Milano, of course, has already been ruled out of this game, as I believe they'll let Milano practice this week. They'll let Milano practice on the bye week. Then he'll have a full week of practice before that San Francisco game. So we'll probably see him then. Of course, Keon Coleman out with the wrist injury as well. He did not participate. To me, the big one, other than the wide receiver room, obviously Spencer Brown. I mean, Spencer's a tremendous player. He's a guy that's raised his level of play since he's been in the league. And when healthy, he is a dominant right tackle in the NFL. Spencer, of course, had the ankle injury, low ankle, thank goodness, injury last week where he got kind of twisted up in the end zone. And, Spencer trying to get back from that. He's been limited all week long, and we'll figure out as the day goes on just where he may be. If I know Spencer Brown, if I know offensive line mentality, I would expect to see him playing on Sunday in Orchard Park. So that's the injury report. You kind of know the rest of the story. I guess obviously the other big story, Dalton Kincaid, a piece of this offense that is incredibly vital when playing a team like Kansas City. And we'll talk about our offense here in a little bit and just kind of how they work in their theory behind things, because I think the identity of this offense is coming to the forefront, and the identity is also in direct proportion with how Josh Allen is playing this season in a season where he's doing things that he's never done in the NFL before. And we'll break that down a little bit as well. But Dalton Kincaid, of course, had the knee injury last week, tried to come back. He did not successfully come back. He came back in the game for a little bit, then they pulled him out. Something not quite right yesterday. He did not participate, yesterday being Wednesday. So I would expect him to not play this week either. The big piece, I guess you would say, the guy that you really have to make a decision on is Amari Cooper, because Cooper, they said, was reportedly catching off the jugs machine with a cast on this week, trying to get used to it. And I think you really have to look at this point, this aspect of this team, and you have to look at this aspect of how things are going. This is a very, very brutal stretch of the schedule for the Buffalo Bills. When you look at this game against the Chiefs, you have a bye week, then you got the Niners coming into town, you got to play Detroit. Extremely physical stretch of games for the Bills. Does this Chiefs game really mean that much to this franchise that you throw all your eggs in one basket to try to win this game, and then you lose Cooper for an extended amount of time because you rushed him back too soon? You lose Kincaid for an extended amount of time because you rushed him back too soon. I know as fans, I know as myself, we want our team out there. We want our best players out there. We want to play the Chiefs. We want to beat the Chiefs. We want to kind of show some dominance, maybe show that we've raised our level to try to get to where they are, because obviously this football team over the last so many years has been built to play against teams like Kansas City and beat the Chiefs, as opposed to teams like the Baltimore Ravens, correct? We play a defense that is very, very efficient against more passing-oriented teams, not necessarily run-oriented teams. We give up a big bunch of chunk plays, those types of things. So you have to really kind of sit back, look at yourself, evaluate things, and say, okay, do we want to go ahead and risk the rest of this season and maybe risk where we are as far as playoffs and those types of things? Now, obviously, we got the AFC East basically locked up. We're in probably the worst division or the poorest division of football this year after so many years of being in a division that was extremely, extremely solid. Miami's coming back and playing well again, although we've taken care of them twice. We've already taken care of the Jets once. We got them one more time at the end of the year, and then we got the Patriots pretty close together. And obviously, I think a Patriots team they'll be a tough out later in the season, because they are getting better as the season goes along. new head coach, lots of new players. Obviously, they have some things they're trying to work out and build that thing back up to where they were when Brady and Belichick were there. So we'll look at that and those types of things. But, honestly, do you mortgage the future of this season to rush guys back to play this one game? I don't think so. If Kincaid's not ready to go or not 100% or close to 100%, you don't play him. Cooper, same thing with me. With him as with Kincaid. If he's not quite ready, if the wrist is iffy, you don't play him. You give him another week of rest on the bye week and you get him ready for the 49ers and you get him ready for Detroit and the latter half of the season. So we'll talk about some of that stuff as we get into our keys of the game. We got 5 keys every week, and we'll talk about those as well. But as we move along, and again, folks, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, tell your friends, whatever platform you're on, you're hanging out at tailgates, you're at the game. Hey, did you guys see this Overreaction Buffalo, website? Have you seen the shows they put out? Tell your friends about it. We enjoy doing it, and your support is definitely appreciated. So hit the like, hit the subscribe, and all those things. When you look at this game and you look at the Kansas City Chiefs team, okay, if you look at this offense of the Chiefs, you, of course, got Patrick Mahomes, who arguably best quarterback in the league. Josh Allen, one, you want to call him 1B, you want to call him 2, 3, because you think that Lamar's better, as you will. But nobody's touching Mahomes right now. Best quarterback in the league, has the numbers, has the titles. But they've got Mahomes at quarterback. Obviously picked up DeAndre Hopkins in a trade. This will be fun to watch. Xavier Worthy. Do they try to get him involved in front of Bills fans who clamored and were upset that they traded away that spot in the first round so the Chiefs could go get Worthy? Obviously, we pick up Keon Coleman in the second. Keon progressing very, very well before the wrist injury, before that suspect Poyer hit that took him out. We may see him on an IR soon. Obviously, Travis Kelce. And then you look at this offensive line, tremendous offensive line, to me, led by the all-pro center, Shawnee, Oklahoma native, OU alum, Creed Humphrey. And then you've got Joe Tooney at the left guard, as well as some others. So this is a very, very strong offensive group. Juju Smith-Schuster is questionable, but the Chiefs are consistent. They are who they are. Every week offensively, they come out and they do what they do. They do the same things. But this is something that I want to talk about before we talk a little bit about that defense and talk about the guys that are on that defense, of course, led by Chris Jones. But in this 9-0 Chiefs start, as they come into Orchard Park on Sunday, this is a team, a 9-0 team that has the lowest point differential of any 9-0 team in NFL history. And I was reading an article by Garrett Podell from CBS NFL, and he brought to light some of this stuff. So anytime I get something from some other people, I always like to give it a little bit of credit. But this is an article that I thought was really, really good. If you want to find it, it's on cbssports.com, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit. Again, lowest point differential of any 9-0 team in NFL history, plus 58. If you look at the Chiefs, okay, they lead the league in plays per game, 6.7, plays per drive, 6.8, and in time of possession, 33.01 minutes. And then they also lead the league in third down conversion rate at 52%. So they're running a ton of plays. They're eating a ton of clock. Their drives last a long time, but yet they still only have a scoring differential or point differential of plus 58. Extremely interesting. All right. Then you look at Hunt, you look at Hopkins, and you look at Kelce. They just got Hopkins a few weeks ago. But if you look at these three players, okay, you look at Hunt, who is the running back, of course, Hopkins, wide receiver, Kelce, tight end. They account for 68% of their offense. 68%. Then you look at Patrick Mahomes, you throw him into that mix. This has been the most inefficient season ever for Patrick Mahomes. Fewest TDs, 12, and the worst passer rating of his career, 90.3, after 9 games in a season. All this statistics and all this sample size through 9 games in a season. So you look at Kansas City 9-0, but they're not that dominant, electric, slicing, deep threat Kansas City Chiefs team that we've come to hate, right? Chiefs fans obviously love. Everybody else in the league hates. They used to be a very, very dynamic team downfield, big chunk plays when Tyreek Hill was there. With Tyreek gone, and now the Chiefs seeing a ton of cover 2, which they're going to see again this week. The short to moderate passing game, the middle passing game has become their bread and butter. Then you look defensively, George Karlaftis quietly goes along and having a great career, one of the most consistent, efficient, and productive defensive ends in the league. Of course, we talked about Chris Jones, Drew Tranquil at the one linebacker spot, Nick Bolton in the middle. Their secondary, Justin Reed, Shamari Connor. I mean, this is a defense right now, 3rd in the league in allowing rushing yards, 3rd-rated defense. So a very, very strong defense. And again, Chris Jones, who is the right defensive tackle, will be lining up against Edwards and that side quite a bit. He lines up inside a lot. He will hop outside on pass rushing situations and some stuff that they do, especially their blitz stuff. But I would expect Chris Jones to be lined up over David Edwards, quite a bit, because if you look at the upfront stuff, that's probably a mismatch, and the Bills are going to have to account for that. Now, have I seen the Bills go out and just really throw the game plan out the window and say, hey, we're going to go ahead and slide to a guy every play? We're going to change everything we do to account for who we used to call when we played, myself and John, the werewolf. I haven't seen them do that. They don't do that very often. So they'll probably run their base stuff and try to survive. But there are some things that are interesting about this game, and we talked about the offense and just kind of the inefficiencies of Kansas City. But I want to get into the keys of the game as we roll through this Big O show on a Thursday here on the Overreaction Buffalo Sports Network, powered by Believe. And again, you can always catch me. We are 8 Eastern, 7 Central on Thursday nights. But my son has a game tonight. They're playing on ESPN. Tulsa takes on East Carolina. So got to record this a little bit early, because as much as I'd love to talk to you guys live, I'd rather watch my son play football live much more than this, and I'm sure you can understand. But keys to the game, all right? Keys to the game. First thing is this, the KISS method. Offensively for the Bills, the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. And when you look at this Bills team, they are an incredibly simplistic offense right now. This is not a complex offense. It's built around the efficiencies in the running game, and it's built around efficiency in play action passing off of that running game. Orlovsky has a really good piece out about it today. He talks about it. You can catch it on Twitter, and I'm sure it's probably on Instagram as well. But he talks about this, and he gives some kind of examples of how the Bills build their route concepts off of play action. But this is a team that'll bring Alec Anderson in. They'll run an extra offensive lineman. They'll get 6 guys. They'll try to do a bunch of double teams in zone. And, of course, we know the Bills like to run some fold, some pin and pull stuff, but they also run what I call dart, which is a lot of single tackle trapping stuff. But this is a team that's going to have to stay with that. This defense is so good in the running game. Like we said, the Chiefs defense, 3rd rated in the league. To just think you're going to line up and pound the rock over and over again, it's kind of being silly. You're going to have to set some stuff up. You're going to have to be opportunistic, and I think the Bills can do that. Again, if you look at this defense of the Chiefs, they give up 83.2 yards per game, and the Bills need to find a way to keep that running game involved so they can not only set up their passing game, but also control the clock and control the line of scrimmage. One of the things in this keep it simple, stupid thing that I'm talking about, in this efficiency of the simplistic Bills offense against the Chiefs defense, they do, I believe, have to find a way to get Curtis Samuel involved in a traditional way. All right, I think Samuel has proven throughout his NFL career he can run the route tree. He can do a lot of things. And while, yes, he is a fast guy in small areas, you want to try to do the orbit motions and those things. He had some success last week in regular route running. They need to find a way to continue to do that. So hopefully we'll see the Bills involve him as well in what I'm calling the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. So that's my first key of the game. How do the Bills offensively keep things simplistic, stay efficient, and are able to continue scoring points and being successful on offense? My second key to the game is to turn the Chiefs over. We talked about it earlier. The Chiefs right now are 24th in turnover ratio in the league at -4. Okay, when you look at the Bills and where they rank, they're ranked third in the league. Josh Allen only has 6 turnovers in 10 games versus 14 in 10 games last season. We're protecting the football. This offense we talked about, this efficient offense, and Josh's ability and willingness to play within that offense is limiting his turnovers. And it's causing him to be a more efficient quarterback. So you got to turn the Chiefs over. Try to get Mahomes to make mistakes, strip balls out, punch him out, all those types of things. Don't know if Pacheco's coming back. Like I said, his window for practice opened this week. We may see him if he is in. He's not a big back. He's a guy you can punch the ball out on. Rusty a little bit, hadn't been playing, so we'll see how that goes. So second key of the game, turn the Chiefs over on Sunday afternoon. Third key of the game, how do we limit the Chiefs on third down? This is the number 1 ranked team in the NFL on third down offensively at 52%. That's why their time of possession is so good. They keep drives alive. We talked about it earlier. 6.8 plays per drive, right? 33.01 minutes of time of possession a game. A big part of this, third down conversions, 52%. And if you look at the Chiefs, and I watched a lot of Chiefs games, and it's going to be predicated on maybe getting some calls by the refs, which we all know you don't get calls against the Chiefs. Maybe we will this weekend because it's been brought to light so much by the NFL fans. But how do you get the Chiefs to be 3rd and 6 or longer? How does this Bills defense keep them out of short yardage situations? Because Kelsey is a killer in 3rd and short on the short passing tree, the short passing routes, and those types of things. Hunt has been a guy that's been successful catching the ball out of the backfield. We all know the Bills' inability to defend C and D gap in the flats. So how do you get this team to not have that type of third down conversion rate? Chiefs are consistent. They're the same offense they've always been. We've got to find a way to turn them over. Now, subsequently, Bills defensively, their third down conversion rate getting off the field is 34.7. I'm sorry, 39.7. That's 14th in the league. So it's not dismal, but it's not top 10. Close, but not top 10. So they got to figure out a way. Now, here's my fourth key of the game, and personally, I believe this probably is the key of the game. And like I said, I was thinking about it, started to do some research on this topic, found the article by Garrett Padell from CBS.com, covers the NFL. And to me, when you look at this matchup within the matchup, it's huge. And that's Josh Allen versus Steve Spagnuolo. We all know Steve Spagnuolo, the longtime NFL defense coordinator, had a short stint as a head coach, didn't go great. He's back where he belongs as a defense coordinator in this league. He loves the blitz. Okay, the Chiefs blitz at 36.9% for most of their opponents' dropbacks. If they're dropping back, he's going to bring people. 36.9% is a big number. And you look at Josh Allen and where he is in 2024 as compared to other seasons. Josh Allen has 705 passing yards and 11 touchdowns versus the blitz this year in 2024. Some of his best numbers that he's had. And then you look at some other Josh Allen statistics that kind of intertwine and go with this concept of him versus Steve Spagnuolo and the blitz that Spagnuolo likes to bring. Josh Allen, his average passing length this season, 7.7 yards per pass, his shortest passing length since he's been in the league. You look at the average time of throw, 2.84 seconds, his quickest that he's had. You look at turnovers per game, 0.6, his fewest. You look at rushing yards per game, 26.1 rushing yards per game, his fewest. All that to say this, folks. Josh Allen right now, his style of play within this Joe Brady offense, this efficient, highly efficient, run first, quick pass, play action type offense, okay, what he's doing now, along with how he's playing against the blitz, it kind of all goes hand in hand, is the best he's done. Josh Allen right now is having a tremendous amount of success against the blitz. So there's where the rubber meets the road, I think, this week. There are going to be times where Spagnuolo heats him up, and Josh Allen has proven in 2024 that he is good against the blitz. Will he continue to be good against the blitz this weekend? That, to me, is the key matchup of the game. Now, the guys up front are going to have to do their part, because when a quarterback is playing against the blitz, he can handle the blitzer, but he can't handle the blitzer and Chris Jones and Karlaftis and other guys coming at him. The offensive line is going to have to do their part. They're going to have a great game. I think this is one of the best games we're going to have to play this year against this front. If they take care of theirs, I expect Josh Allen to take care of his. So to me, when we talk about this game on the Overreaction postgame show on Sunday night at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, this is going to be a huge part of this discussion. How does Josh Allen play against Steve Spagnuolo's blitz, and does he have a lot of success? So if you want to look at one thing, and we talked about a lot of stuff, third down conversions, we talked about turning over the Chiefs, we talked about, keeping it simple and the Bills' efficient run first, play action heavy offense. When you look at this thing and it comes down to it, how does Josh Allen handle the blitz of the Chiefs? And is Spagnuolo successful of getting to him? We'll see. And obviously the other weapon that Josh has, other than just all these other things, is he can run it. So I think we'll talk about that probably after this game. We'll talk about it quite a bit on Sunday. Could be wrong, but I think that's where this game is going to. And finally, my fifth key to this game, and it's one that you can probably talk about every week, but in this week I think it's pretty pertinent. Andy Reid versus Sean McDermott. I've really, really enjoyed the coaching job that McDermott has done this season. Minus the Hail Mary, I think that McDermott is coached as good of a 10-game stretch as he has with the Buffalo Bills, considering the injuries, considering the roster that he has, and all those things, and considering the fact that he has removed himself from the defense coordinator duties, all of that stuff. I think that McDermott is doing a wonderful job. I think he's actually kind of emulating and catching up to Andy Reid a little bit. He's taking risks. He's showing signs that he's willing to be aggressive in a lot of different spots. His aggression on fourth down is something we have. He's gone for it on fourth down, but it's been even more so this year and in some crazy spots. The 61-yard field goal attempt, he's willing to do some things risk-wise for that reward. And I think that's something that you watch Andy Reid, he does all that stuff as well. And it comes from being confident in your players. It comes from being confident in your assistant coaches and your coaching staff that they're doing their jobs, and they will back you on the decision that they make. And I think it's really cool. And I think it's something that I've enjoyed watching this season as much as anything, because let's face it, this is not a marquee Bills roster. It's got a ton of holes in it. Brandon Beane, McDermott, and the likes have done a good job of putting a very, very good football team on the field that has been in cap jail or cap prison or whatever you want to call it this season, has had to eat a lot of dead money from a lot of contracts, and they're relying on rookies and things like that. Stuff that you have not seen out of this coaching staff or this front office, and they're doing it this year, and they're having success at it with an 8-2 record. So I think it's admirable. So that's my fifth key to the game, Andy Reid versus Sean McDermott. Will McDermott continue to trend and do those things that you need to do aggression-wise to win games? So that's my breakdown of the game this week. I'm looking forward to it. Again, folks, is this the season? No, it's not. But it's kind of a pretty good litmus test to see where we are. Now, obviously, we've got quite a few injuries. We're not at a full-strength roster. If we can pull this game out this weekend with the roster the way it is, the injury report the way it is, much confidence going into that bye week as we get ready for the 49ers and the Detroit Lions. And I'm looking forward to it. So again, Bills, Chiefs, 9-0 Chiefs, 8-2 Bills, 4:25 Sunday afternoon, Highmark Field, Orchard Park, New York. I'll be watching. I know you'll be watching as well. I appreciate you watching me right here on the Big O Show as we break down the opponent for the week. And thanks as always. Appreciate all the support. Tell your friends about us. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. As always, folks, much love and go Bills.
I'm still the same damn